Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. We're going to talk Browns, Cavs, and Indians, and we got a lot to talk about. But before that, here is today's Scott's Sports 101 trivia question: Who did Cleveland acquire as as the player to be named later in the trade that sent CC Sabathia to the Milwaukee Brewers? I will have the answer later in the podcast. Well, I didn't get to do this on. Here is a recap of the draft picks that the Browns took. I'm going to do them right now, so I didn't get a chance to do it on the last one. They traded the 44th pick, waited to round 3 to pick 68. They took Martin Emerson with pick 68, CB Mississippi State, Alex Wright, a defensive end, and Martin Emerson's a cornerback. Alex Wright, defensive end, UAB. David Bell, wide receiver, Purdue, and he could take Jarvis Landry's place, I believe. Perry and Winfrey, defensive tackle, Oklahoma. Cade York, kicker, LSU. With 156, Jerome Ford, running back, Cincinnati. With pick 202, Michael Woods, wide receiver, Oklahoma, Isaiah Thomas, defensive end, Oklahoma, and Dawson Deaton, center. And he's from Texas Tech. My overall grade for them is a B. They get a B for this draft. And so I have to give them credit. They do get a B for this draft. Now, the Browns are expected to have hired Catherine Raichi, currently an executive with the Philadelphia Eagles, to their Frontline League source told ESPN, confirming multiple reports. As the Eagles' vice president of football operations, Raichi was already the NFL's highest-ranking woman football executive. Raichi, 33, previously worked alongside Browns general manager Andrew Berry, in Philadelphia. ESPN Cleveland was the first to report this. The Browns' interest in Raichi, who could take over the assistant general manager role in Cleveland's front office, vacated by Kawasai Adolfo Mensah. The Minnesota Vikings hired Adolf Mensah to be their general manager in January. A Montreal native, Raichi spent 5 years in the Canadian Football League, including directing football operations for the Toronto Argonauts, before joining the Eagles in 2019 as their football operations player. Personal coordinator that was the same year Berry joined the Eagles as vice president of football operations. Not long after Berry left to become GM of the Browns in 2020, Raichi was promoted to Berry's old position in 2021, becoming involved in pro and college scouting, contract management, player/staff development, and football research. The Browns have hired women for key positions in the past, most notably Callie Brownson, who is now the team's chief of staff assistant receivers coach. Now, the Cleveland Browns have a fluid situation on their hands. At least that's how they're choosing to refer to the fact that quarterback Baker Mayfield is still awkwardly on the roster with the NFL draft coming and going, and still on the team. It's uncertain when this situation may be solved. It's a fluid situation, head coach Kevin Stefanski said when during a radio interview on ESPN Cleveland, if he was confident that the Mayfield situation would be settled. I think everybody would love a resolution, but these things are fluid. I think Andrew Berry has talked about about it will continue to do what is best ultimately for the team at all times. The NFL draft is come and gone, and Baker Mayfield quarterback is still a member of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns couldn't swing a trade with the Carolina Panthers, and according to multiple sources, never got close as talks intensified along just a few Fridays, second round. As sources said, Carolina wanted Cleveland to pay a significant portion of Mayfield's guaranteed $19 million salary next season, and there's still been some talks between Cleveland and Carolina, and possibly Seattle as well. Dollar and so a salary next season. The Browns bulked, and Carolina traded up into the third round to draft Ole Miss quarterback Matt Carroll, killing the trade talks according to sources. As it stands, Carroll, not Mayfield, will compete with Sam Darnold for Carolina's starting job, and Mayfield remains in limbo with the franchise that took him number 1 overall 4 years ago. Now, I think Baker Mayfield could possibly be going to Seattle. You never know. We will have to wait and find out about this, and I will keep you updated on this as well. In 2018, Mayfield arrived in Cleveland, a city that has been searching for a franchise quarterback since the Bernie Kosar era of the 1980s, with enormous fanfare. But after quarterbacking the Browns to their first playoff victory in 26 years, in 2020, he's standing with the front office and locker room declined, struggles on the field, a messy split with Odell Beckham Jr. that traded the team quarterback. That traded the team quarterback Deshaun Watson's willingness to waive his no-trade clause to join Cleveland, and perceived slight from the Browns front office, and contributed to effectively time in Cleveland, pursuing both sides to seek a fresh start. In March, the Browns traded for Watson, even though he had faced and continues to face 22 civil lawsuits from women alleging sexual assault and inappropriate conduct during massage sessions. 2 grand juries in Texas declined to indict Watson on criminal charges, but the NFL is also conducting its own investigation, which could result in a suspension for Watson. And he has never assaulted, disrupted, or harassed any women, and he plans to fight these lawsuits. Now, he could hopefully get back to his old self. Hopefully he's out. I think there's some people that say he's guilty, some people say that he's not, but I think he's going to be able to play this. I think it's going to be next year when he gets a suspension, but we'll see, because we don't know yet. We got to wait and see what happens. I'll keep you updated, though, on this one. Mayfield, however, is still waiting for his new beginning with no other trade partner on the horizon, and Cleveland thus far unwilling to negotiate Mayfield's release, according to sources. The Browns quarterback continues to have a murky future, a future that just a year ago seemed destined to be in Cleveland before rapidly falling apart. In last season's opener against the Kansas City Chiefs, Mayfield looked like the passer who had finished the 2020 season ranked number 10 in quarterback ranks. And the Browns scored touchdowns on their first 3 possessions before finally coming up short on Mayfield's game-ending interception. But in week 2 against the Texans, Mayfield suffered a torn labrum in his left non-throwing shoulder. After that, he was never the same. Mayfield completed 82% of his passes in his first 2 games last season, the best rate in the NFL. The rest of the rest of the way while wearing a harness to keep his left shoulder in place. Mayfield's completion rate fell to 57.7%, second worst in the league. His QBR tumbled to 27th, the largest QB drop of 34.4 of any passer from the 2022 season, according to ESPN Stats and Information Research. Though his marketing agent Mayfield declined to speak to ESPN about the 2021 season opener or his exit from Cleveland, but during the YNK podcast published April 13th, he said the shoulder injury affected him mentally as well as physically. When it started lingering, my play going downhill, that's when I was like, oh, and Mayfield said on the podcast, that's when I started losing my own self-confidence, and just losing myself this past year was rough. Following a 15-10 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on October 31st, Mayfield's season would get even rougher, and behind the scenes, his future in Cleveland would gradually become tenuous as the Browns began exploring potential replacement. Hours before the November 2nd trade deadline, Beckham's father posted a video on Instagram highlighting all the times last season Mayfield threw Beckham's way or missed him when he was open. Odell Beckham Jr. trashed Mayfield, in two comments as well. OBJ didn't disavow his father's comments publicly, and he didn't call or text Mayfield privately, according to multiple sources, even though they had often played video games together and had vacationed in Big Sky, Montana with teammates on Labor Day weekend. So that's it. There's some more Browns news coming up, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to move on to the Cavs. The Cleveland Cavaliers' luck apparently ran out. The Cavs did not move up during the draft Tuesday night's draft lottery just a few weeks ago. They will have the number 14th pick in the 2022 NBA draft, which will take place on June 23rd at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Entering the night with a 2.4% chance of moving into the top four, and the lowest odds 0.5% of winning the lottery and staying put, was Cleveland's most likely outcome of the 1,000 possible four-number combinations. The team owned just five. Since the weighted lottery system was implemented in 1990, only three with less than 2% chance have won the top spot. The Orlando Magic in 1993, Chicago Bulls in 2008, and the Cleveland Cavs in 2014. No team with less than 1.5% has ever gotten the top pick, a streak that will continue. The Orlando Magic are one of three teams that had a 14% chance of winning the lottery. Will pick first. It's the fourth time in franchise history Orlando has won the lottery, and first since 2004 when they selected center Dwight Howard. The Magic also won the lottery in back-to-back years, 92 and 93, taking Shaquille O'Neal and Chris Webber. Oklahoma City and Houston and Sacramento round out the top 4. The Kings were the biggest riser entering with a 32% chance. I got to tell you, I think the Cavs will really are going to have a good pick. Moving into the top spot to the top 4 and a 7.5 chance of getting the number one. Number one moving up 3 spots. They are the only team to leap into the top group that didn't have the best 4 odds. Now we'll continue this when I come back. Stay with us.